not giving any thought to the feelings or emotions of what this carnage, what this killings would do to this country and to its people. I mean, was he trying to make a statement? So far, no letter found. They're going to comb through his phone, through his computer, to see if there was some kind of, manifesto, some sick manifesto. Maybe these things are happening. Supposedly, this guy had 2 residences. They found more firearms. So this guy certainly was very familiar with firearms, knew how they operated, and definitely had a plan at the hotel, had it staked out for several days. They are up in the room. They are perched perfectly and just ready for the closing act where people getting ready to leave, where the most people were there because Aldrin was the biggest act from all the other country music stars that came out. Supposedly he was the big headliner out there. But 22,000 people, folks. That's a lot of people, and when you're spraying all this automatic fire down at them, it's no wonder. And more people could have been killed, but now I understand now that first it was hundreds, and now it's up to 500 people that are injured, 58 killed, and unfortunately what they're saying is this is the deadliest shooting in U.S. history. You got 500 injured, 58 killed. Normally, if it wasn't this big, we wouldn't be dedicating this much airtime, but this is history, folks, in the making as we speak. And I would just have to imagine that things are going to change. They did after 9/11. They did after the shoe bomber Richard Reed with our shoes having to be taken off in airports. I do believe, as David Linsky, who was a former sheriff in Boston, said that they're going to have to review everything once everything kind of stabilizes and somewhat back to normalcy there in Vegas. By the way, the president half-staff flags around our nation today. If you can lower your flag, if you have one, the president's just asked that we do that for the remembrance of those that lost their lives or are injured right now. Steve Scalise and many of our politicians have already released statements of prayer and how sorry they are and that we stand together. And Orlando mayor has said that, Orlando's strong, Vegas strong. Folks, I just say America strong. We're definitely feeling heavy emotions. People from all over the country have loved ones that were there. And we'll hear from probably local news stations in your area from people that were attending that concert or people that escaped that are feeling very lucky that were able to leave themselves or maybe have left a friend behind that got shot and ended up killed or severely injured. 500 people, that's a lot of people to be injured. That's just a lot of people, folks. That is just so scary. And to me, what makes me nervous about all of this, and it should make you nervous, is the copycats out there that see this, especially our enemies like ISIS and Al-Qaeda, where they take note of this. It's prime opportunity for people to be able to get in to hotels and be able to open fire like that with these machine guns, these automatic rifles. And I have no idea if these were legal guns. I'm all for the NRA. I'm all for people having guns and to be able to protect themselves. But that amount of firepower, unless you're in the service, I think that's a little overkill. I don't know if that gun was a legal gun. I kind of doubt it. With that kind of calibration going on, I don't think so. If anybody wants to weigh in, you can go to For the People Show and For the People Show on Facebook and talk to Keith Allen on Twitter. And Allen's ALAN. Talk to Keith Allen. Hashtag Talk to Keith Allen on Twitter or on Facebook For the People Show. Let me know what you think. Was this because we don't know exactly the exact model number of the gun, but if we know the firepower of what that was able to do, is that legal? something tells me that didn't fall under legal. Those kind of guns, to me, should be outlawed. But still, I have always said this and will continue doing it. Bad people, if they want to have these type of firearms for the right money, unfortunately, I grew up in New York City. If you wanted something, and I didn't go looking for the stuff, but man, you could buy anything. Anything. I don't know if things have changed. I don't think so. On the streets of New York City, if you want something, Tyrone will get it for you. Or whoever is selling it on the street. But I'll tell you, I know this guy named Tyrone, and he told me anything. Anything, he would say. He could get it. You know, you had to pay him. That's the case all over. You get these bad people, and they have no idea what they're going to go do. They don't ask questions. They just want your money. But anyways, our hearts are heavy here at For the People for so many people right now that are just having to wake up to the realization that the deadliest terror attack happened and on our soil from an American, a local guy in his 60s, 64 years old, as a matter of fact. We know his name, Stephen Craig Paddock of Nevada. He was found dead in a hotel room. He committed suicide after unloading his 3 big rounds of automatic weaponry, as many as 10 firearms found in his room. And the country music star that was performing at the time, his name was Jason Alderan, and he was on stage when the shots began ringing out on Sunday night. This happened last night at the Route 91 Harvest Fest. That's what it was called, Harvest Fest. And this is a big annual shindig that takes place out there. And people, man, they bought their tickets way in advance to come out and be at the hotel. Many of them were at the Vanderland. That's where they were staying. They were down below with the concert on street level, where they had no idea what was going to happen hours later after the concert started, that from the 32nd floor at night, about 10-something at night, the unthinkable happened. As a matter of fact, this is what happened. The music started again. And another round.
Gunfire, and that certainly, there's no doubt that is an automatic weapon and a high-powered automatic weapon.
Well, automatic. At first, so he, like so many people.
High-powered weapon, you heard the news commentator. Kodiak Yahtzee, 36, said that he and his girlfriend were watching Alden's performance when he heard what sounded like fireworks. That's what a lot of people thought. That's what the band thought. That there was fireworks going on. They didn't think that it was some machine gun going off like that. The music stopped temporarily and then started up before another round of pops sent the performers ducking for cover and fleeing the stage. And thousands fled as bursts of gunfire could be heard for more than 5 minutes. This is 5 minutes of gunfire. So that's why there were so many people injured, 558. So it's kind of making a little bit of more sense here. Jose Baggett, 31, a Las Vegas resident, said that he and a friend were in the lobby of the Luxor Hotel Casino directly north of the festival when people began running. He said people were crying as he and his friend walked away. They encountered police checkpoints where officers were carrying shotguns and assault rifles. There were armored personnel vehicles, SWAT vehicles, ambulances, and at least a half a mile of police officers there and police cars, according to Baggett. And witnesses said that they saw multiple victims and dozens of ambulances near the concert venue. Some attendees later, they huddled in the basement of nearby Tropicana Hotel Casino. And officers carrying assault rifles ran into the Mandalay Bay Hotel and Casino. And authorities then shut down parts of the Vegas Strip and Interstate 15. Flights even were temporarily halted at McCarran Airport because of the shooting. The airport said on its verified Twitter account, like temporary suspended flights in case this guy maybe made a run for the airport after the shooting. But you got to give it to the Vegas police. They found at least where the shooting was coming from. They just didn't get the perp, if you will, alive. He cowardly shot himself when they blew the door down. He took his own life so he wouldn't be taken in. I mean, he certainly knew that he did wrong. You don't just kill yourself and walk away from it. Certainly had enough mental capacity, if you will, to realize that what he had done was wrong. And I don't know if we'll ever have enough information to really put it together. But to me, you're going to have some metal detectors put in to these casinos and to protect anybody that goes through there. If we do it in airports, just after this, I just imagine for people not to feel unsafe anymore, spending the kind of money you do, at least in Vegas or other hotels, you certainly don't want people to have firearms and in a hotel where you're staying with your family or with yourself at that, to put everybody else in danger, that you're going to have to walk through a metal detector to get into the hotel. And I am almost certain of that taking place, and hopefully the Mandolin will be one of the first hotels, and sadly, to install it just because of the massacre for security purposes. Because I'm telling you, Vegas has long been on the radar, according to terrorism experts that I've listened to, at least, that Vegas has been one of those targets where, ISIS would love to do that, because Vegas is known to people from all over the world, and it's a very visible location, a visible place. And this guy must have known that he was going to get some kind of media attention on this for what he was going to do. Some kind of statement made. What kind of statement? What was it? That he could kill people? Was it something political? He didn't like country music, so that's how much he hated Nashville and the music industry. I mean, what? He didn't like people drinking? I mean, was he religious? Was he a nut? A religious zealot? I mean, God, who knows? We don't know his religion. We know his age. Police say that they knew him. They knew of him. They knew him. So what they knew, they're not releasing, not right now. It's too early, as they say, in the investigation. So all we can go by is just the information that they give every 2 hours. But the gunman, the 62-year-old, he fired round after round into the crowd of concert goers. That's what we know. Jeez, unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. Breaks your heart. Death toll rising. And here we are on For the People talking about the biggest massacre happening in Las Vegas. And so many people are writing in right now with their well wishes, really not knowing what to say other than our condolences to the friends, to the family, to people that have lost their lives or are fighting for their life right now. Paramedics, doctors, nurses right now are working overtime to literally just save lives, to be able to assess what's going on with people that are being injured right now. It's definitely a tough place to be right now for law enforcement officials, for responders, for what they do right now. Will you ever be prepared for something like this? I don't think so. And it just does make you wonder from day to day, and again, to ask this inevitable crazy question, what next? But it always seems to be something lately these days, between the calamities with nature, with the storms that are taking place, and the folks in Puerto Rico and Texas and the islands that are just trying to survive there. They're having their own hell on earth with losing loved ones or not being able to be in touch with loved ones, and a lot of political fallout with the mayor of San Juan and the Trump administration, with FEMA. And that is a sad situation, looking into that from politicians and from an engineer, a civil engineer, talking about how corrupt it is in Puerto Rico. No, it's been. I mean, there are billions of dollars in debt.